Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Range is hot. Lock and load. It's time for the Gun Rack with your hosts, Joey and Drew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gun Rack Sonoran Desert Institute School of Firearms Technology's official podcast. I'm Josiah Upper. Folks call me Joey, and with me we have one...
Drew Poplin.
Drew Poplin. That was minor key, Drew Poplin. Yeah, it was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I was impressed.
I sometimes I scare myself, to be entirely honest with you. We're excited to be with you guys today. If you hear a little bit of echoing in the background, that's because Drew and I are once again in the same locale, the same location, which happens to be my dining room table in a room that's a little echoey. Bear with us. The nice thing is my microphone gain has much improved. I listened back to the most recent published episode and was like, woof, I need to get that fixed. So we're working on that. But we're here. We are here together, and we have something interesting to talk about, which probably will not thrill you guys, but it's important nonetheless. So we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, we have some Drew's Clues to work through. We got to tell you about this lovely school. I have a secret hidden shout out in here. I didn't tell Drew about it because it was too funny not to.
Ooh.
So, yeah, let's get into it. First, what was last week's answer to Drew's Clues?
All right, well, so quick shout out to Seth, who got last week's answer correctly. And it is the Labelle Model 1886. Now, this week, this American 6-shot single-action revolver first entered production in 1955. It's estimated to have sold 4 million units. And a final clue, think of the hockey player Patrick Kane. Think of his team.
Yes. For the four of you who watch hockey, that pretty much gives it away right there. It's actually a pretty classic revolver in the industry. I'll add a further hint. They always seem to go on sale right around Christmas time. At least I've found them to frequently be on sale right around Christmas time. So that's some fun for you there. So before we get into the meat of today's topic and my fun little shout out, let's talk just a little bit about what else but Sonoran Desert Institute. It was either going to be SDI or ZipFizz. So let's talk about SDI.
ZipFizz hasn't returned our calls.
ZipFizz has not returned my many, many, many calls, and there haven't been a lot of them. I'll be honest with you. I said many. It's more like none. But just because I haven't called them doesn't mean they shouldn't know that I'm here. And actually, our fun little shout out deals with that very topic. Isn't that a fun teaser? I just watched Drew's soul leave his body through his eyeballs.
I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah. But seriously, let's talk about Sonoran Desert Institute for a moment. Sonoran Desert Institute is an online school that focuses primarily, at the moment anyway, on firearms technology and unmanned technology. I say at the moment. None of that's going anywhere. We're just a school that loves to grow. We are accredited by the Distance Education Accrediting Commission. We offer currently 2 certificate programs and 1 degree program. We have the Certificate of Unmanned Technology Aerial Systems, that's the CUTAS. We have the Certificate in Firearms Technology Gunsmithing, CFTG. We have the Associate of Science Technology program, that is the ASFT. I don't know why I choked up halfway there, ASFT. And if you are interested in any of those, if you want to take your gunsmithing knowledge to that next level through formal education, SDI might just be for you. If you want to learn more about either the School of Firearms Technology or the School of Unmanned Technology, go on and hop over to our website, sdi.edu. You can check out our many programs, and by many I mean 3. And you can see which one is right for you during normal office hours for our school. There should be a live chat option available to you guys. If you're interested, you can talk with an admissions rep right away. They are we love them. They're great people. So feel free to drop them a hello. And drop them hello is not a phrase, is it? Feel free to say hello to these kind people. We would love to have you be a part of the SDI family. Really, truly. Check out sdi.edu. Okay. So, a lot of you who have listened to the podcast for a while, looking at you, Eli specifically, are familiar with about, I don't know, 4 to 6 months ago, we talked about my doing theater a little bit. We did a couple of mentions in there here or there. If you don't know, and I could start talking about things that aren't just SDI anymore for reasons we can expound upon shortly.
When has it ever stopped us?
Yes, that's true. Outside of normal business hours, I do a lot of theater work. I do some regional theater. It's kind of like community theater, but with comically small paychecks involved.
Which is more than most.
Which is more than most people. Yes, I'm very proud of those comically small paychecks. I say that not as a dig, but as a holy smokes. I love the people that I work with. But the only reason I say that is because I was at a rehearsal this week, and I was approached by a friend of mine, and she said, "Hey," and this is why Zipfizz should have found us already. My husband, who I've hung out with on 3 total occasions so far, he's wonderful, found your podcast. He's not the kind of person I would think would like our podcast, so I was surprised by that. But apparently, my friend came home from rehearsal or work or whatever, and her husband, I'm trying not to name drop everybody since I didn't tell them I was putting it on here, started quietly playing it on Alexa. So my voice was just slowly pulsing through the house, and then every time that Kelly complained, damn it, I did her name anyway, the volume would be increased very slightly each time. That is how it was explained to me. That might not be exactly how it fell, but someone got the gun rack bombed in their home via Alexa, which is probably the best way to tell you guys that you can listen to the gun rack on Alexa. I didn't know that, but I guess everyone else, I don't like those little in-home smart devices.
No, I don't trust them.
They listen to you constantly. It's creepy. And the people that have them normally, I could almost roll with Apple because their privacy practices are literally changing the industry. But like Amazon and Google, they're big companies that are ultra creepy. And we work in marketing, so we know exactly how creepy they are because that information comes to us. But if you do have one, if that's the call you want to make, feel free to the gun rack bomb your friends, your family, that weird uncle of yours that likes a football team no one else likes. If you have a Washington Commanders fan uncle, feel free to the gun rack bomb them at any given time.
And also pray for them, because obviously they're going through something. They need some help.
They're having a hard time. But the point is, Kelly, who I accidentally outed, and her husband, whose privacy integrity I have secured. Way to go.
Well, and, we have to protect our listeners.
Yes. I accidentally have name dropped 2 people so far on the show over the course of it. So I'm not trying to dox anyone else. But feel free to do that more frequently and in different places. Bring your Alexa to the mall. Ooh. Maybe that's the next step. You leave it at like a shoe, what is it? Foot Locker. Stick it in the corner of the Foot Locker with their complimentary 1-bar Wi-Fi. You have to go through 4 steps to validate, and you fire that thing off in the corner. That won't make anyone upset.
Not at all.
At all.
It's proven to be a good time for everyone involved.
Yes. Yeah. If you're going to the Foot Locker, you're not having a good day to start. Because either you work at the Foot Locker or you need shoes, but you have $13. There's not a lot of other reasons to go to the Foot Locker. I don't know why we're Foot Locker bombing. This.
They've had it coming for a while. They've
honestly
been resting on their laurels for too long.
They have. You go out there and you're trying to get my favorite scene in all of Bob's Burgers, which is a TV show for those of you who are unaware. It's a poor family, and you can tell they're a poor family because one of the kids in the show needs shoes, and they go all the way back to that horrific bargain wall where they just make no attempt to clean it or keep it organized. So you get like a combat boot next to a high heel, and they're in the same box somehow, and they're the same size, so you know someone else bought the other set.
Yeah.
And they're just hoping someone else will make it happen. It's hard times out there for both the workers of the mighty Foot Locker and for those who have to patronize them. That brought back a lot of memories to my childhood. A lot of Vans shoes were purchased at the Foot Locker.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I still love Vans. Like, I haven't bought a pair in... Actually, I got some for Christmas last year. My bad.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Any boy who likes to sing about his feelings has a pair of Vans somewhere. Yeah. That's just science, honestly.
I don't think they knew that I did singing.
The Vans people?
No, the audience.
Oh, yeah, no. Drew does singing.
You might not want to look it up, though.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It's interesting. We have scheduled the giveaway of the root beer in question last week or the week before. It's actually going to be my final act in office to hint at what's coming. But if anyone goes and looks up some of Drew's music and gives us a thorough review, we will send root beer in your direction. I will drive it to you. That's not true. I won't do that. I will drive it to you if you happen to be within 10 minutes of my home. And I mean 10 minutes of walking. Otherwise, it's going to get shipped to you. But root beer will come. We'll take an essay of... I need at least 100 words, I think. Like a good paragraph. Topic sentence. At least 2 or 3 supporting sentences. Don't use the words in conclusion. For those of you who are not already at SDI, don't do that. Bad writing mechanics. Yeah.
And if you give it a 5-star review, we might even throw a decent drink in there instead of old root beer. I can't promise anything, but...
You can't promise anything, and also, how dare you? Old root beer is my father. I don't drink soda, but, old root beer. Yeah, and by the way, we mean 5-star review of Drew, not the podcast. Don't be ridiculous.
We'll take either, though.
Yeah, we'll take 5-star reviews for our podcast. Anyway, this is a fun, circuitous podcast, but it is time to make an announcement that those of us here at the school have known for a couple of weeks now, and it's time to break it to you fine people here. Tomorrow, we're recording this on the 29th. Tomorrow is going to be this is Joey, very last day as a full-time employee at SDI. I got what can really only be referred to as a Godfather offer from a wonderful startup that I won't plug here because I don't think Steve would be elated with me doing so.
Probably not.
That needs someone to take their content marketing system, which is what I do here, right? I'm a content marketing specialist, and manage with Drew and our freelancers, and basically take their content marketing and revamp it and turn it into its own department. And it's just a really good opportunity. And it was a good enough opportunity that I did not feel like I could say no. And it's pretty life-changing in a lot of ways. Still get to work from home. Still get to do the things I love, which is marketing and the creation and publication of content, but I will not be with SDI full-time. And I cannot overstate, for those of you who have, because I know we have a few employees that listen to the podcast, I cannot overstate how grateful I am to have been here. I've worked with SDI I started as a probationary contracty dude, which a lot of companies do, like attempt to hire kind of thing, in 2018, towards the end of July 2018. So it's been over 4 years I've been here. It's the longest I've been anywhere. Part of that's because I'm younger, but it's just been a wonderful place to be. I've made some incredible friends. We've had some incredible content people come on the show, and from that we've actually made even more friendships. Jake Burden, who Jake, if you're hearing this, because I know you listen sometimes, expect to hear something from me before I leave on Friday, because I want to reach out to you and just thank you for all you've done for the podcast. Kip Carpenter, same. I am so grateful for the time and effort you both have put in to this show and to this marketing department. And for our listeners out there, they do those things because they care about you guys. That's not a cliche. Kip Carpenter does this podcast for two reasons. One is because he loves Jennifer McInnes, who is my boss's boss now. She was my boss for the first 3 years I worked here. And the other reason is because he loves the students and potential students so much that the idea of taking 2 hours of his week, quite a few times actually before we were done here, it didn't even bat an eye. He's our master gunsmith. That dude keeps busy. Same for Jake, who we've watched go from part-time faculty all the way to financial services. He's here full-time with us now. We've had a couple of guys. I'll give a shout out to David Baz, who I don't think even listens to this podcast right now, but back when we were doing our testimonials the very first time, I did a testimonial interview with him, and he said, you know what, do you guys have any openings? And now he teaches here as a graduate, which is really cool. He works with, I believe he still works with Untitled Arms out of the Charlotte area in North Carolina, but he might have changed that. I haven't caught up with him in a long time. Anyway, David, thank you. Theo, who hosted this podcast a few times and guest starred quite a bit. Thank you very much. About this time last year, he was publishing some stuff with us, and that was an absolute blessing. Same with Patrick, who guested quite a few times. I'm trying to think of, I just want to be sure I'm thanking everyone. Caleb Tillery, of course, also hosted a few times. Caleb Downing, who does a lot of our SDI grad advice. Steve Ross has come on a few times. Jennifer's come on a few times. Simona, we love you so much. I'm going to miss you enormously. Chris Ross, who got hired the same day I did. We've been together since quite literally day one. It's been an amazing time, and I'm going to miss it so much. My heart is very full. And in case you're not getting this from what I'm saying already, this is about as happy a parting as I could possibly imagine between myself and another company. They could not, Steve and Jennifer both could not have been more warm and happy about my telling them that, I wanted to take that next step in my career and that I found a really great place to do it. They were so supportive and wonderful. And Drew is actually going to pick up a lot of that slack. He's kind of kicking into gear. moving from probation to full-time stuff, and then kind of this next step, and Chris Ross is going to do the same. It's just a lot of change going on, and while I'm going to miss you guys, I think a lot of it's good, not only for me, but for you guys too. Now that we've got all that out of the way, there's some very good news. Steve and Jennifer, who is the director of marketing and then the vice president of growth and marketing, I don't want to be gone from the outdoor industry completely, or at least the firearms industry. For those of you who don't know, I started out as a blogger / sort of reporter, kind of that, that HuffPost vibe, which is not a publication I would personally recommend, but that vibe of like not quite news, not quite blog, that was kind of the space I was in for a while. And then I went to reporting on firearms news and concealed carry news for a while. That was my shtick for a while before I got here. So I've been in, and back when I first started in that not quite news, not quite blog space, firearms tech was kind of my Second Amendment stuff was my corner, right? It was a lot of political stuff. I talked about firearms and history, and that was my main thing. So I've been in the outdoor and or firearms industry for my entire career to date. It's been a while, and I didn't want to let that go fully. This new place I'm going to, while they are incredible and I'm so excited, are not in that space. So when I was considering how to break to Jennifer and Steve that I was leaving, one of the things that occurred to me to ask was to offer to kind of create a contract between myself and SDI to stay on in a very part-time capacity, specifically to do the podcast, and then also write. We're currently hashing this out, so I have signed it. They have not signed it. Also write about a piece a month for you guys on the blog as well. Steve and Jennifer were both immediately on board with that. There's been some back and forth as contracts generally work out, and obviously I'm not going to spell all that out here, but they've been incredibly supportive. It's just, logistics for contracts is a whole thing. But I will say that the contract has been written. In principle, we seem to agree on what's going on. I have signed it on my end. It's actually with them for review. They both happen to live in Florida, so they got the snot beaten out of them last night, as I'm sure you guys know. But I am hoping to have that done here before I leave on Friday. So there's a very good chance that my announcing that I'm leaving doesn't have any impact on this podcast at all, like even for a single week, which would be so very cool and nice. Even if it does, assuming that this contract that we've all kind of agreed to in theory pans out, and it should, we're going to miss like a week or two and then be right to a regularly scheduled programming. And if that happens, you still got Drew here. So we're still all having a good time. Yeah, so it should be really good for you guys, because actually it gives me a little bit more time to focus on the podcast than I would be otherwise. Drew and I are going to keep doing our normal thing, and we're really blessed to be able to do that and share all of this with you guys. There have been some really great moments over the years. The podcast is 3 years old as of 6 days ago, actually. I forgot to mention it in the last episode, but I launched it on September 23rd, officially launched it on September 23rd of 2019. We have published, including this one, how many episodes have we published? 100
This is 124.
124. And there's some mini-sodes in there, so it's probably even a little bit more than that. We were up and down a little bit in terms of quantity for a while, but we're kind of out weekly now. This one's obviously coming out late, but that's because we had this news going on, and I was trying to get the contract done so I could say things more definitively. And I feel kind of bad for like half putting it out there, but I feel confident enough at where we are to tell you guys that pretty confident we'll be continuing pretty seamlessly from here on. But 3 years this podcast has been around. We've had some great episodes. We've had some episodes where you guys are probably like, woof. If there are, don't tell me about them. I'm very fragile. I think the top 2 or 3, if you've not listened to them, the firearms draft, which actually we had an email in about that episode, which is funny because it's from way back in April, about how enjoyable that was for one of our listeners, which we really enjoyed. We actually, back when we published it, got a lot of positive feedback on that one, and it was just fun to do. So if you've not listened to that, that'd be worth your time. There's top 10 best first beginner handguns, according to me. That is our all-time most popular episode. I think it's about to break 700 downloads, which is preposterous for our tiny little operation. Trying to think of some of the other big ones. We've had some really good history episodes. We had a one-take Constitution. That was a lot. We've had a lot of good opportunities here. And there's a lot of content that we would love you guys to hop back and listen through. A lot of top 10s and top 5s, which I know you guys tend to like. And you guys can expect more of that in the future. Even if something crazy happens and I'm not here, Drew will be here to take care of you guys. And Drew will be... not much of our dynamic will change. Drew's been doing a lot of the organizing of these episodes already. But he'll be kind of the point man for getting this stuff done, and I'll come and co-host. But dynamic should be good. We're still here to have a good time. And one of the nice things about being able to be outside and in is that a lot of the stuff that I wouldn't be able to otherwise say, I can say now. So, like, as a full-time employee of SDI, I can't say, I can't endorse any particular product. But Joey can, and has many times, to my little following of gun peeps. So, while it's not going to be, radically different, but I get to take the safety off on some of that stuff that I've been holding back on. I'm very excited to do
Joey
that.
Upper Unchained.
Unhinged Joey. Goblin mode. Why do you think I'm coming after Foot Locker now? You got to start off with strong volleys. The next will be my campaign against the concept of those little espresso beans that are covered only in dark chocolate. Because why would you compliment a bitter flavor with a bitter flavor? Get the hell out of here. Yeah, I said hell. What are you going to do?
Oh, no.
What are you going to do, Drew?
I actually
You're going to fire me on tomorrow.
I can't do that.
I know. Yeah, you couldn't do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, technically, still, you're kind of my supervisor. So
that's true. I got another 24 hours of glory. I'm going to make Drew send out a bunch of really mean tweets or something. I'm trying to think of a fun social media post to walk out the door with. I think it's going to be the Donald Duck and Goofy "Let Me See Your War Face" from Full Metal Jacket. Have you seen that?
Yes. Where like they replace the voices.
I think that's going to be it. I had to check and see if it's safe for work, because obviously, while I may be unhinged, the school is not unhinged. So, we're still going to have a lot of fun, is the point, you guys. That was a little meandering. And we're going to be able to create some really fun content for you guys. I'm going to be able to go, again, assuming that all of this, this stuff that we've kind of agreed to, peremptorily comes through, I'm going to be able to go do some training things to share with you. Because like that Recondo Tactical, it's another one you should listen to, review we did is one of our most popular. And I would be so love to be able to just go out and bring those things back to share with you guys and be able to tell you, here's, this is worth your time. Try this. This might not, you might need a better investment of your time elsewhere for X, Y, or Z. Really excited for the opportunities this opens up.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that, actually. I think oftentimes when you work in a profession that happens to coincide with a passion of yours, sometimes that passion can fade. So if anything, I'm excited to see what content Joey's going to bring now that he's not, day in, day out surrounded by the industry. When he goes out just on his own for fun, or maybe less frequently than he has been currently. I think it'll yield some awesome stuff, and I'm excited to see a unhinged, unchained, revitalized Joey Upper.
Yes.
On the gun rack.
Toast is on full goblin mode. And I think that's fair to say. And just to be clear, my love for firearms never went anywhere, but it's different when you spend all your time in it, right? I think the best example of that, we went to a range day in March, and we're with, we have media tags, and exhibitor tags because we're with SDI, and people aren't even batting an eye as 240 Bravos going off, and there's all this automatic fire and whatnot, and I remember listening to everything and thinking that it was so normal when it's just face melting. Any people are walking into this thing off the street and their minds are exploding, and that's how it should be. There's a I have and always will love this, but there's a certain amount of wonder that I think we can bring back. And as I told one of the I can't remember who it was on the way out. Oh, I also wanted to put a thank you out there for Tracy Lee, who is the president of SDI, who's just a wonderful human being. We actually had a really great conversation. To call it an exit interview is probably even a bit much. We just had a conversation on the way out. She's just the best, guys. Sometimes you think of those people, and when I think of a president of a school, I think of mahogany chairs and favoritism, and all the awful things about a school wrapped up into the highest level. It just isn't the case. She's the best. And not to dunk on her too hard, but we had that exit interview, and she was giving me the absolute fullest boomer zoom angle. For her face was up and over her camera it was great. It was absolute gold. Tracy, I will miss you very much. I know I already said that, but I told one of them that I can write about these wonderful firearms things we do, and I will always appreciate that opportunity. I never want to take it for granted. Or I can afford to do all of these firearms things that we do. Yeah, CI takes great care of its employees. Please do not mistake us at all. They take care of their employees. We're actually an employee-owned company. They really do right by us. But an opportunity like this really uncorks a lot of potential and that's stuff that the only thing I want to do with it is bring it right back around with you guys. So hoping to be able to share some really fun stuff with you. I might buy a horse. I don't know. I probably won't buy a horse. I only have 2 acres. I feel like that's not enough for a horse.
Could be for
a miniature.
Yeah, they have those miniature horses.
Or like a stick horse.
Like
a stuffed horse head with a stick in it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about one of those that is made out of some 2x4s, and you just.
I could also do that. I could get a sawhorse. I think I have 2 sawhorses. Is the plural for horses high? too sawhorse eye.
Listen, it's been a while since I've been in that realm. I'm not sure what the current currency is for horse and horse-related items are.
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah. All right, folks. I know this is not super firearm centric, but
it's gun rack centric.
Yeah, it is very gun rack centric. One of the things I was so worried about when I told them that I was going to leave is that I would lose the gun rack specifically. And when Tracy asked me why I was still wanting to do this, thing, and I was like, the gun rack's my baby. It's, it belongs to SDI, but it's also a little bit mine. So that they were so willing to let me keep talking with you guys makes my heart so happy. With that, let's kick it over to Tales from the Range.
Yes, sir. So once again, the story comes from snipershide.com, and this is from user KIR. And this is a tale about father and son. So I want to share it with you. When my 13-year-old son came to visit, I took him out shooting. But I first loaded the Ruger single 6 that he was going to shoot with blanks, then handed him the pistol.
Goblin mode.
Goblin mode, indeed. He could not hit any of the soda can targets I had set up, which, obviously, because it was blanks. So I teased him about it, then reloaded with real ammo. I aimed at a can in the middle and knocked off a can on each side of my intended target, which that's pretty impressive. So he says, naturally, I took it in stride and told him, there, 2 for 1. And the reason I wanted to share that story, father and son, is we may have any number of fathers out there listening to the show who are bringing up young men and young women into this world. And when it comes to the stuff like the friendly competition between parent and child, I just want to encourage you, make them earn it. Make them earn it, and if that requires you to cheat like KIR did, then all the better. Because remember, you're the parent. They need to know who's in charge.
Yes. Folks, it's been a heck of a run. If you never hear from me again, would pretty much take a bolt of lightning to make that happen. I'm so grateful for you guys and all the time that you spend listening to my weird nasally baritone and Drew's weird congested baritone, which frequently...
Together we have a normal voice.
We do, and they are like one pitch off, so it's kind of like playing a piano without knowing how to play a piano. It's a disaster. This podcast is a disaster. There's no other word for it. We should just blow it all up and start over again with like the Run Gak. Which is the anti-hero gun podcast.
We could just be a Zip Fizz-centric.
We could be Zip Fizz-centric. We could call it the palpitation.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Because our hearts. Yeah. Our hearts sound like Paul Revere trying to warn a bunch of colonists. All right, folks. We'll let you go. But, have fun out there. We will see you at the range and get ready for a whole new season of the Gun Rack.
Sonoran Desert Institute is an online school accredited by the DEAC. It is headquartered at 1555 West University Drive in Tempe, Arizona. For more information about how you can craft your firearms future, visit sdi.edu.